James had always been a quiet, introspective young man. His days were a cycle of mundane routines, work, a few hours of mindless entertainment, and then, his most secret indulgence, masturbation. It had started as a means of escape, a temporary relief from the pressures of life, but over time, it consumed him. His work performance suffered, his energy levels were always low, and his relationships had become distant. The worst part was the shame he felt each time it happened, as though he were spiraling further into a life that lacked meaning or fulfillment. Every day, he promised himself, tomorrow will be different, but tomorrow never came. One morning, while scrolling through social media, James came across a motivational video. The speaker, a man whose life seemed perfect, spoke about the power of self-discipline and how he had overcome his own struggles. The speaker mentioned how his ability to control his impulses and stay consistent had completely transformed his life. For the first time in years, James felt a flicker of hope. Maybe there was a way out. With a mix of curiosity and desperation, he decided to take action. He promised himself that today would be the first day of his transformation. The journey was not easy. The first week felt like torture. Every time he felt the urge, his mind screamed for release. He would go for a run, meditate, or focus on work, anything to distract himself. His body and mind fought him, but James refused to give in. At night, when the temptation loomed largest, he would remind himself of the new life he was trying to build. Slowly, the urges began to subside. His focus at work improved, and his energy returned. However, every victory was followed by a setback. A bad day at work or a particularly stressful evening would trigger his old habits, and James found himself starting the battle over again. James learned quickly that change wasn't about achieving perfection, it was about the consistency of effort. There would be moments of failure, but it was how he reacted to those moments that mattered. He started journaling his thoughts, acknowledging the difficulty of his struggle but also recognizing his strength. Each day, he celebrated the small wins, resisting temptation for a few hours, completing a productive workday, having a meaningful conversation with a friend. These small victories slowly added up, and James began to see a change in himself. His focus, energy, and confidence all started to grow, and for the first time in a long time, he felt like he was taking control of his life. As the weeks went on, James realized that the journey was far more complex than simply resisting temptation. The root of his struggle was deeper than just his physical urges, it was tied to his sense of self-worth. For years, he had been using his habits as a way to numb the feelings of inadequacy and loneliness he had never addressed. As he continued to work on his self-discipline, James began exploring the emotional and psychological factors that fueled his addiction. He started seeking help through therapy, learning about the underlying issues he had suppressed for so long. In therapy, he uncovered fears of failure, self-doubt, and a deep-seated belief that he wasn't enough. With this new understanding, James began to develop a healthier relationship with himself. He realized that self-discipline wasn't just about saying no to instant gratification, it was about saying yes to personal growth. He began to fill his time with productive activities that nurtured his mind and body, reading self-help books, setting meaningful goals, and exercising regularly. He discovered that self-discipline was not a restrictive force but an empowering tool that enabled him to take control of his life. Each small step forward made him feel stronger, more capable, and more in control of his destiny. After several months, James found that the urges that once seemed overpowering no longer held the same power over him. He still faced challenges, but he had built a strong foundation of self-discipline and mental resilience. His work performance soared, and he was promoted to a position he had once thought unattainable. His relationships improved as well, he was more present and engaged, and the shame that had once consumed him was replaced by pride in his progress. James had become a man who no longer ran from his problems but faced them head-on, equipped with the strength of self-control. One evening, as James sat on his balcony, reflecting on how far he had come, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. He realized that his journey wasn't just about overcoming his addiction to masturbation, it was about discovering the power of self-discipline, self-worth, and consistency. He had learned that the key to success lay not in avoiding temptation, but in developing the strength to persevere, even when the path seemed unclear. In that moment, James understood that he was in control of his destiny, and the possibilities for his future were limitless. Moral lessons. Self-discipline is the foundation of success. True change comes from consistently practicing self-discipline, not from perfection. Each small effort counts and adds up to significant progress. Facing your struggles head-on leads to growth. Acknowledging the root causes of our struggles and addressing them is crucial for long-term success. Avoiding problems only perpetuates the cycle. Consistency is more important than willpower. Willpower may falter, but consistency keeps you moving forward. Building habits and sticking with them is key to transformation. You are in control of your destiny. No matter the challenges or setbacks you face, you hold the power to change your life through your actions and choices. Success is not defined by avoiding temptation, but by developing resilience. It's not about perfect control. It's about becoming stronger through each setback and learning from every challenge.